Are we looking live?
Actually, you know what? One of these times I should actually watch it go. All right, good. You're looking live. You're looking live.
How about it?
Basement.
How about it?
How about you guys?
How about it?
Hospitality suite.
Welcome. You guys ready to talk?
I'm ready to talk. Are you?
Thank you so much for hanging out with us again tonight. We're about ready to get started.
Okay, we're good.
Yeah,
we got
there you
audio.
go. Got
Rock and roll.
confirmation. Got it. Like, we're coming in post pre-show routine. You know, you almost need a towel. Get rid of some of this.
Need a pat down?
I need a pat
Rub down? Okay, we'll do that later.
Oh,
Got it. We got on the field already. Put in, good walkthrough, and then now it's time to.
Hayes in the barn.
Hayes in the barn. Here we go.
Put the women and children to bed and go to work, something like that.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us again on a Tuesday night. On behalf of First Amendment Sports, I'm Ken Marangolo. This is the WCAC Spectacular. He's Matt Seal.
What's up, guys? I feel out of place here tonight. I'm usually over here.
It's a big seat to fill, homeboy.
It is.
Where we normally would see Tim Strachan, he has abandoned us tonight for a classier event, but certainly not more fun. He's Kevin Ricka.
Yeah, it's a non-basement work-related situation. And,
on a Tuesday.
at this time of year, I can't argue.
You got to give him a pass.
Yeah.
Hall pass.
I got
It was
nothing.
an approved PTO request,
Sure.
obviously.
It was.
We got
but
a heck of a lot of stuff going down.
it's like using PTO on a weekend, you know what I mean? Or like a holiday, because you were already getting the day off because it's Tuesday. But that's all right. We miss you, T. We are here to talk about the news of the day and the week in the WCAC, the greatest high school sports conference in the land. Thank you for being with us. And it's always cool when that's true. There is stuff to talk about that's actually kind of amazing. We obviously love talking about the action on the hardwood, but from both boys and girls perspectives. Awesome programs in the WCAC. But I thought and I think that the story of the week, in a really cool, fun way, is this Maryland football program resurrecting itself right in front of our eyes from a personnel standpoint that we believe is going to be a culture situation over there. And the WCAC is at the core of all of it. I mean, I selfishly, and I believe that, but I think it's true.
Yeah, I mean, we're not kidding around. We talked about Locksdown last week. Well, the first conference that needs to be put on Locksdown, no one knows better than Coach Loxley, and he's taking steps to make that progression happen sooner than later, isn't he?
Yeah, so he's obviously going to completely reshape the sidelines, and we've heard a lot of names, but there's official news from the official news. I mean, it's
From
official.
our official news people.
It's official.
Right.
I mean, go ahead, tell
Our
him.
sources, yes. Elijah
Insider.
Brooks.
Sorry, insider. Yeah.
Elijah
It's
Brooks
done.
is going to become a part of the new staff over at Maryland, I think as of tomorrow, from what we understand, from what we read earlier.
Yep.
And the people that we've spoken with. Good luck to Coach Brooks. There's going to be a lot of turnover over there at DeMatha, and he's done one hell of a job. I mean, the league is certainly going to miss Coach Brooks and all the championships he's taken with him and the relationships. And he was great to us here coming on, one of the first coaches to jump on with us.
He was the first coach this year.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you, Coach.
So we certainly are going to wish him the best, but he ain't going that far, and he is still certainly going to be a big part of this conference.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, so he goes to Maryland, where he'll immediately get two guys he knows real well, in McFarland and Harrison.
yeah.
And
With an eyeball on old Marshawn still hanging around
One more
town
hanging
with
out
one more
down the
year.
street.
I mean,
That's right.
listen, as a running back himself, we're not certain what position he's going to assume on staff. But you would think that it would make a little bit of sense if he was involved with the running backs, especially with his previous relationship with the two guys on the roster.
Yep.
And the young man that's in Hyattsville for one more season before he might wind up in Hyattsville again. We'll see. I think it's a Penn State-Maryland 50-50 as of yesterday.
That's
I
the word.
got to think those percentages are going to be
Swayed a little bit.
they're going to have to show their work on this one after what happens tomorrow.
so, and Marshawn Lloyd is an awesome player, man. If you've watched any DeMatha in the last year,
Explosive.
and you watched him down the stretch,
He's fantastic.
there's nobody that's better than that.
He's the guy you want on your team.
Came out today. He's a top 20 player in his class in the nation as a 5-star. Rivals came out with their new business today. We got a couple good guys from the league right in there. I mean, we might as well go ahead and say it. Rakim Jarrett listed as a 5-star, which was ridiculous that he wasn't last year.
And
the number 1 wide receiver in the senior class, next year's senior class in the nation, which we've said in this basement time and time again for the last few years.
So that's 2 top 20 guys just right off the top.
And MJ Sherman, another top 20 guy.
He's top
St.
20.
John's 5-star, coming off an ACL surgery. He is in there just busting it.
Landon
Tengwall, good counsel.
Good counsel.
Obviously, we know Caleb Williams.
Caleb
is
Williams.
A 5-star type guy. You got Luke Hill, the cornerback at St. John's. And just a plethora of sophomores that we have not seen them get re-ranked yet. But I got to imagine that there is a handful out there. And, I think a kid like Trey Williams in that 2020 class I thought might get that 5-star. Tyzay Johnson, a sophomore.
Yep.
Colin Henrik. Those 2 guys are rising juniors who have started so many games against top 20 competition you can't even count. It's double digits. Yep. They've been in the trenches for freshman and sophomore year against the toughest schedule in the nation. There's some players out here to talk about in this fall, and we will get to all that.
How many 5-stars can a conference expect to have?
I'm going to tell you right now, I think we have exactly 6 known, 2 that we know.
Yep.
6 official, 2 that we know. So we're right around the 8 number, and
We'll probably get 2 more out of that.
I mean, with what goes on around
that's
here.
ridiculous. Like high school conferences don't have 10 5-stars.
Why the heck do you think Nick Saban felt the need to fly into town to double discount check
His
DeMarco
guys.
Hellum
Yeah,
situation as Mike Loxley takes over this area? He's no dummy. He has not gotten to the top of the mountain without knowing stuff, everything that's going on.
I mean, DeMarco Hellum's, first of all, that's a testament to how good we've been telling everybody we know how good, that guy is. The fact that Saban obviously
He's willing to get on a plane and come up here just to be safe. And also
he's going to be awesome. He's going to be so much fun to watch on Saturdays.
Saban might have spotted a 7'2" basketball player he might want as a tight end.
Great
next year,
story.
From what we understand from Coach Jones over there at DeMatha.
Great story.
It's fantastic stuff.
Yeah, Mike Jones tweeted out that as Saban was on campus at DeMatha, he was walking by DeMatha's basketball practice, and Hunter Dickinson said, "Hey, Coach, you ever thought about recruiting a 7'2" tight end?" And he said, "Why not? We recruited Kobe Bryant." Now, from what I understand, that was during the Michigan State days, and I'm not certain if East Lansing was at the top of Kobe's list after he wound up in Los Angeles for about 20-some years. But hey, what a cool thing that is, just to have Nick Saban walking through campus and have your super stud 5-star center 7'2" with, I saw on Twitter, a spin move to the basket and a dunk that you don't see 17-year-old 7'2" guys be able to do what he did. Yeah. I mean, it was an inside dribble to the basket with a 2-hand flush and run back down court like he did it like in his sleep.
And he hung up there a little bit just to
he gave it. He gave a little high knee. Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
And then that guy has the confidence to just give Saban a shout out, who just gives him. This is what we do around here, man. This is why we're talking about this league.
It's
this
interesting about Saban. It's just like a cool note on. I mean, that guy's got a pretty big game coming up for him in his program. But I think college coaches are making this trip. Every college coach probably made this trip at some point between their last game and their bowl game, probably multiple times. I'm wondering if he was in town at all for Locks. For anything that was going on with that situation, because I think I'm sure
protection mode.
Well, I think Saban does now know, in a way that he didn't before Locks was involved with his program. So good, good on the WCAC for putting some people on that sidelines. It'll be fun to watch who takes over DeMatha, because they're going to get some players. And I guess good on...
Well, we're going to talk about that in a second, but just right before we get off the subject, I love the story of Nick Saban a few years ago coming up with St. John's Terrell Lewis, who had visited Alabama and was going on a visit to Ole Miss or Mississippi State, one or the other. And he is getting ready to board a plane at BWI Airport about 15 minutes before they call for him to come up. He's sitting by himself listening to his Walkman, and who comes over and taps him on the shoulder in the airport right before he boards the plane? Nick Saban. Right before he's heading on his trip to Ole Miss or Mississippi State, whichever it may have been, just to remind Terrell how they feel about him down at Alabama before he headed down to Ole Miss. The attention to detail. Now, Mike Loxley is one of the top recruiters in the nation pre his 3 years at Alabama, but you got to imagine those two guys got together and shared a few tricks of the trade.
I mean, if you're a great recruiter, you're probably at least 60% great stalker.
Oh,
I mean,
man.
because of the way
Part of the deal.
the way it's unbelievable. Reminds me of Mike Lonergan trying to recruit my 3-year-old son at the airport on his way to Vermont.
right. That's what another great recruiter.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
Sign 'em up.
Hey.
That's right.
Megan's like, stop boring that. But that coach, I was like, I don't think I've said like one word in the last 15 minutes.
I actually was recruited by and played for Mike Lonergan, so great job, Coach.
Cheers,
Coach.
Coach.
I was 30 pounds overweight after ACL surgery, and he stuck with me. So God bless him.
Oh man, the hardwood transition.
Well, hold on, real quick.
Okay.
We have not yet to talk about the possibilities of who's the next DeMatha coach. Which anyone who's listening,
okay. I didn't.
anyone
I,
that's listening
I
has
wasn't
got to be
sure.
sitting here saying, "Hey, Ricka, knock it off about the Terrell Lewis Saban stuff. What do we think?"
Okay, I didn't know. I didn't know we were gonna
And
make
who's
a big
taking
thing.
it? I mean, if that's you know what? Listen, we don't know anything.
We've got
We
a
don't
guy,
know
We've
anything.
got
But-
one
but
guy
we've
on
got
staff
people.
who moves up to the top. Josh Wilson.
Yeah.
Who's there?
I think everyone would imagine that would be the safe bet. That's been the word spread.
That's your in-house pick.
I said, well, my
Wild card?
in-house pick is look, it's just out there, and we're Redskins fans. The Joe Gibbs era, when we got Joe Gibbs to come back after a number of years, the excitement level. I mean, it's kind of hard to look around and see what what Elijah's done, what was happened before him, and I'm calling hashtag Return of the Mac. I think a phone call to Bill McGregor has to happen.
Okay.
And I don't. Aside from that, who knows? I don't know what the relationships are. I don't pretend to know, and I don't have any inside sources.
I'm pretty sure he would at least take the call.
But you got to take that call. You
And you have to reach out.
you did a great job at that program. It was. I'm not saying he turned it. It was something before he got there, but he took it to a new level, new heights. And the relationships he's made with many friends of mine, including one of our best friends that usually is sitting right there. You can't just ignore the elephant in the room, which is a Hall of Fame high school head coach that has won, a bazillion championships. You lose count after a while. I was on the wrong end of one of them, and coaching on the wrong end of a bunch. But everyone who's played or coached in this league can say the same thing.
Yep.
So, there's a couple names out there. I heard of Ian Thomas thrown out there.
Another DeMatha guy.
I got to think you got to give a call to Dino Campbell. A legendary super stud who's over at St. John's right now. Of course, the Cadets wouldn't want to lose him, but that's a guy that was on the sidelines for 19 of those years. I think 19 championships is what it was. On the sidelines for 23 or 24 of them. So there's definitely some awesome choices.
There's a list out there,
and we're certainly excited to see it. But I got to think, Bill McGregor might be the guy.
I just think that they shouldn't just not consider Terry McGann at all. He was he put together a quality flag football team back in the day.
Not a team, not just a team, a league.
A league.
Come on, give
for
the man some
goodness
credit.
sake. For goodness sake, played for.
I can feel him blushing from about a quarter mile away right now.
Well, so that's going to be fun to watch as well. Again, the fact that we'll be talking about a high school program and the direction of it with potentially a game-changing coaching decision.
But that's not the only national news we got going on.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
In fact, the three of us sitting here, so well represented with the girls' basketball programs here. The scene is nuts, isn't it?
St. John's and McNamara were the top 3 going into the week, I believe.
They were
Country,
2 and 3.
not just locally in the country.
In the country, of
the
course.
country.
Yes.
Of course.
That's outrageous.
The Mustangs and the Lady Mustangs, Lady Cadets.
And the Mustangs didn't have a game this week. The Cadets had a couple. It was the Art
Turner Classic, which
Turner
is
Classic.
a very highly publicized girls basketball tournament. Paul VI hosted this year. Mm-hmm. You got teams from all over the country. St. John's, Paul VI locally, Woodbridge High School down in Virginia. Christ the King from New York came down, number 1 team in the country until
They went up against
St. John's Cadets.
Yeah, 1 versus 2. This early in the season is phenomenal. What a great tournament.
And friend of the show, AZ Fudd, did what she always does, put on a show.
Dude.
Dropped, I think, 30-some points.
35. They won 57-49. She put on a quiet 35.
Yeah.
She's a sophomore, and she is a phenom.
Yep.
She quite possibly could be the best female basketball player at the high school level in the country, and she's right in our backyard.
It might be. She might be a generational type player.
Yeah, I think.
Yes.
At this point in time, I think people have woken up to the fact
Yeah.
that I think she is right this very second.
She
the
is
best.
USA
worth
basketball as
the
well.
price of admission
Yeah.
to go watch them play ball for sure. And she's got some fantastic teamenates too. She's not just a one-girl show.
Oh, no doubt
She's
about
got a
it.
great
Coach
supporting
Scribner.
cast.
Coach Scribner he's got himself a ball squad, and a couple times last year she came off the bench, and I think she came off the bench against Visitation early in the year last year and hit 10, threes. I mean, the kid is dynamite, but what a special person. She is a team-first player, and she is beloved by her teammates. And like you said, there's plenty of girls on that squad that are going to go play at the next level. And Coach Scribner's done a heck of a job with the pressures
He's
of
been here
having
a
all
few
these
times.
players. Yeah, he's a certain.
I can actually hear
usually
him.
Sits right there.
I can hear him.
Another friend of the show.
Loud coaching voice right down the street.
And it'll be certainly sweet to see it in print when it says the Cadets and the Mustangs are the top 2 girls basketball programs in the United States of America.
And we'll be at least one of those games between St. John's and McNamara. We're making plans right now to be broadcasting live. The one from St. John's at least. We
February 9th.
February 9th. We're also talking to Bishop McNamara about doing a girls game or two from there. So check, keep your eyes out on that. We're tuned. Getting out of football live productions and into basketball live productions, we're excited to call some games. And the Hoops Fest tournament, I still can't believe. First of all, I can't believe all the teams that were in it.
There was some outrageous talent at DeMatha this past weekend. I saw some games Friday and Saturday and was just amazed at the teams. I mean, Carroll took on Holy Spirit Prep from Atlanta, Georgia. They had a top 5 ranked kid in the country. I'm blanking on the young man's name, but he put on a show. The highlight of that night, though, was Wilson taking on IMG. Now, granted, we're not talking WCAC. Well, we have a WCAC connection with IMG and Coach Sean McAloon.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
And they are America's super team. They are just something else, that squad. A young man named Armando Baycott from the Richmond, Virginia area. He played on the team takeover squad.
Just committed to North Carolina.
Roy Williams got himself a steal, and Coach Williams was in the house watching him on Saturday.
Yep.
Him and Coach
I bet.
Davis were over in the
You
corner.
got to protect your investment, guys. That's what we're learning about these guys.
They stick out with their Carolina blue sweaters.
Right.
I mean, they don't do anything to conceal that, but they're getting a
That usually
top
singes my
5 kid.
retina.
It does. It's
Yeah.
a dookie. You got your blue on tonight, representing. But they are going to get a stud when they get Baycott down there in Chapel Hill. And not just to limit it to that. Moving to Saturday, you had
It was tough for the WCAC.
they had
for
a
the
rough
most part.
going. You had Paul VI taking on Montverde, another top 5 team in the country.
1 and 2. IMG and Montverde are today. Is it Montverde, Verdi, whatever it is? How about the
They're
NEA
first
on
and
the
second.
S
IMG first, right?
As of today, are the number 1 and 2 teams in the country. And what I love about our conference is we take on all comers. We play
we'll
anyone,
take it.
anytime, anywhere. And yeah, we had tough sledding this week. Our top 6 teams lost.
And you got to give credit to Wilson, too, for stepping up to the plate and saying, we'll take on IMG.
Sure.
It doesn't matter. We can compete with it. And Wilson hung with them for 3 quarters.
And they got the twin brothers heading to
The
Maryland.
Mitchell brothers who are
and
going
the
to
Mitchell
Maryland.
brothers were at McNamara at one point. They've been
Yes.
at a few places. It's hard to keep track sometimes, but
they've settled in nicely with Wilson.
Yeah.
So, Coach Fernandez is doing a great job over there. Shout out to you guys. Keep working
without a
hard.
doubt. And those guys will settle in nicely with Coach Turgeon as well, I
They
imagine.
will,
Yeah.
for sure. DeMatha, IMG Saturday night was the marquee game. I saw a couple of Carroll, I think they were faculty members, who were behind the bench for the Carroll game at 1 o'clock. They didn't move until that final
I love
buzzer
it.
blew. The
Hoops
DeMatha
junkies, I love
IMG
it.
Game.
I love it.
They were glued to their seat,
Yeah.
and there wasn't a seat to be had in that place. They made a slight issue with the DeMatha students coming in. They had to move a whole section of bleachers at
Right before
Capacity
tip-off.
House. They tried to do it at halftime of the game before, and it didn't go over very well
Yeah.
because I was sitting at that end.
They were trying to get people to leave out of their
whole
seats.
half of the end zone bleachers, the guy kept going over the loudspeaker to say, "Unfortunately, you folks are going to have to move for the DeMatha students because they have priority because they're hosting the games here in the facility." It didn't go over well because there was no place to go.
Yeah.
Everybody
Running a
begrudgingly
basketball
got up.
tournament at that level.
And shout out to the guys, a lot of the team takeover guys, I think Keith and Doug, did a
Yeah.
fantastic job.
So what happened?
Yeah, those
Where
guys
did,
are
where did people
studs,
go?
man.
Did the DeMatha kids just have to
The
stand
DeMatha
around?
kid, no, they got people up. They had to bring in some security, but the security walked down and just asked everybody to kindly just do it, and begrudgingly it happened. But
Man.
that's a tough sell. But
Yeah.
when the school is kind enough to host a big event
Sure.
like that, you got to give them a couple
Without
breaks.
a doubt.
Yeah.
And it worked out well in the end because everybody who was there saw some fantastic basketball.
And our message
That's
is
what
always
it's all
about the
about.
kids and those
Exactly.
kids that came to support their classmates. You can't overlook that.
Nope.
So sometimes adults might have to get up and rearrange
right.
their scenario, but you know what? That's what we're doing.
And
That's why we're
They
here.
made it known that they weren't happy about it, but they did it anyway.
Yeah.
And you know what? everybody benefited in the end. Plus, you got to see the DeMatha kids just in their best Santa Claus elf type outfits, which was definitely a highlight for the crowd as well. So, shout out to them.
Sounds like an awesome production.
It was. I mean, the Paul VI, stood up to Montverde. DeMatha stood up to IMG. It just goes to show what level of ball we've got in this area.
Yeah,
Well,
DeMatha was leading majority of the game, right?
Yeah, they
Another
were.
big win on Sunday. I mean, we don't want to just forget about
That's
the
true.
Mustangs.
I didn't get to go back. There was a lot of action set Friday and Saturday. I did not get back, but McNamara had a great showing against Bullis. A lot of defensive solitude there transferred into the offensive zone for them.
Defensive solitude.
Coach Vini down
like it.
there, he's working on
Keith.
something good.
Hey,
He's got a
he
solid.
told us he was.
He's got a solid roster down there, so they're showing up and showing out down there in Forestville.
Oh, good. I like Keith wasn't lying.
No.
he wasn't.
But and I'm not giving Keith or you a hard time, but we can't overlook the fact that they had an off night down at St. John's.
Oh,
and-
no, of course we
and
can't.
was-
They almost got
hey,
doubled up.
The cadets are for real. McNamara's for real.
Yep.
Hey, you have to bring your A game, or else you're gonna lose
this
by a
league.
big margin. And
right.
people are gonna have those nights. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen to everyone, but especially the top 6 in this division. Holy moly! You got to be scared to death to be a coach.
There's not a guarantee on that schedule.
I
Not a
listen,
guaranteed win.
I had a great conversation with Good Counsel head coach G.J. Kissel, and I'm just saying, it was not coach speak. And he was just looking you dead in the eye going, every night is a nightmare. And I said, he goes, but, this is what we signed up for.
signed up for,
This is why people come to these leagues. This is why people take these jobs. This is what it is. And this time of year, it seems pretty intense already.
Yeah.
This is what's up. Usually it's Christmas tournament we grew up. This is 3 weeks out. This basketball is happening. These kids are ready, and the year-round situation seems to have these kids ready and prepared to go this early in the season. I mean, traveling, playing against top teams in the nation in front of packed houses.
We very rarely played a conference game before January.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
the way it was set up.
Yeah, but we
You
didn't
had
play
to
20
gear up.
conference games either.
True.
So
'Cause you had to gear up for conference. This
Exactly.
time, it doesn't matter.
Conference usually happened
better be
after
geared up
Christmas.
by the time you start playing.
it was like the
your
first
games.
week of January.
Yep.
Now
It doesn't matter.
Now it doesn't matter.
You hit the gauntlet right from the start nowadays. That's how the coaches
And
like
it's
it.
not any cupcake 12, 13 game schedule.
Well, it certainly wasn't at the Nike Hoop Fest this past weekend. I can guarantee you
yeah.
that. There were no cupcakes in that.
Right.
building.
I mean, we don't even mention DeMatha beating Roman Catholic, who's a traditional
Right.
national
Strong
powerhouse.
power.
Who's I think they're right. They were right outside the top 25. It was one of those teams to mention, one of the next
On the
5
bubble.
on the bubble. And Roman Catholic's put out teams year in, year out, and we've the WCAC has played against them in the Alhambra tournament year in, year out over the last 3 decades since I've been around. And what a great tournament! We might have a sniff at that one, won't we?
Might need
Is,
to.
is that still, I mean, they're going to get some of the
strong.
teams that were at Hoops Fest are going to be out at Alhambra?
Well, our local teams will be
Besides,
out there.
at least
You
four-
get
at least
the
four, right?
WCAC champ, and then the second,
Philly Catholic
third,
League.
possibly fourth. Philly Catholic, Baltimore Catholic. Bishop Walsh is the host, I think. And,
Yep.
They usually
throwing-
pull a
you're
team
throwing
or
a
two
random
from
card.
around the country,
Yeah.
get someone to come.
But heck, that's not until like
March.
late March.
Yeah.
guys.
March,
That's
after conference.
That's so
championships.
far away from right
Right.
now. We got a whole lot to
We
talk
got a
about
long
between
road
now
ahead
and
of
then.
us between now and then. That's for sure.
So I don't know what I was thinking for history of the WCAC, and I don't want to overlook any last minute thoughts on things, but I feel like at some point we should work into the show some tip of our hat back to something that happened in the WCAC, maybe not just this day in or this weekend, but the winter season, some winter season sport, which I only played when I was thinking about that today. I think I only wrestled once. It was the worst winter season of my entire life. You guys at least got to play
Please tell
basketball.
me there's videotape. Mr.
Oh, no.
Clark down at McNamara, please
No, there's
tell us
no.
you have
It was
videotape of
terrible.
that. Please.
I got a driver's license, and I no longer had to stay because my ride was a wrestler. So
Please
I
send a
wrestled.
student into the VHS
Oh,
video.
It was the
told
worst.
You've
to
told
find
this
that
story
tape.
on the Spectacular before, but we asked for evidence of a onesie, and we
It was called a singlet, first of all,
Singlet.
not a
I
I know,
onesie.
but I like to call it a onesie.
Kevin knows it's a singlet.
I would say you probably had more fun gearing up for basketball season than I had in that one terrible winter season of wrestling. I mean, you're getting out of football shape into basketball shape, but without, I'm guessing you weren't playing
Hey,
the same
when I-
level of.
When I played basketball, those shorts that Coach Gallagher handed me, that was a singlet. So
It was tight.
those were booty. I had
Go
the
on.
Stocktons.
Ugh, let's stop.
But that's what I was going to say. The history of the WCAC, we're celebrating a little the spirit of Joe Gallagher here. The hospitality suite at the Alhambra just jumped right into my mind because he has claimed he has won a few games, lost a few games, but never lost at the hospitality suite at the Holiday Inn in
Cumberland?
Maryland. So, I've heard that said a dozen times in my life, and I believe it to be true.
He's way on top. He's
I
in the
hope
lead.
I hope that's proper history of the WCAC.
See, I think that's
sports.
the kind of stuff we should be covering and talking more about.
Provide to the audience.
What a legend. A legendary man, a legendary coach. I am blessed and honored to say I'm the youngest man that ever played for him. He kept me around that freshman year to help me that sophomore year, but mostly to hang out and party with my dad a little bit, I think. So, as you get older, you understand how the world works. And I learned a ton. And the guy I guarded is now the head coach at Rhode Island, Dave Cox, just ripping it up there, taking over that program, doing great things. And that's who I guarded. He was the senior captain on that team, and he taught me a ton. So that was like my year of service, I guess you call it. And I was taught everything on the court by that guy, and it's how it's passed down in this league. All the tricks of the trade that a senior would know that a freshman couldn't possibly have a clue about. And he was a great teammate. He taught me a ton, and obviously he's a great teacher because he's at the helm at Rhode Island, and we're wishing him the best.
I mean, if I would have had just a little bit of that, Seal, I'm guaranteeing you're probably this show probably wouldn't even be possible because that would be like, you know what I'm saying? Just a little bit of that, just that if I could have soaked up a little bit of what you just described, I feel like I could have an all-pro career in the NBA.
Oh, I thought you were still talking about like wrestling someone. So
no, I was the worst wrestler ever. I was a terrible wrestler.
We could have gotten you one win.
I don't know, man. I was really bad. I was in the best shape ever. Wrestling practice is the worst. Anyone who wrestled, any people who love wrestling, it's awesome for them, I guess.
It's a dedication. It is.
Man, it is. I just did not find it very.
Hey,
fun.
I have a certain huge amount of respect. I've been to a couple wrestling tournaments. When you're out there one-on-one, you cannot rely on your teammate. It's mano a mano, and the respect that wrestlers have for each other, it's tremendous. The post when they go shake hands with each coach, then shake hands with each other, that's real. Now, there's tears of joy, there's tears of sadness, but that's real, and I have a ton of respect for those guys. I do. What an impossible thing.
You mean like these guys?
No, I meant the guys that actually like win wrestling matches and compete at high levels.
Well, I competed at super high level, but like from my back on the mat, just was tough.
And pin.
I mean, I had places to get to.
I'm about to pin this show. Can you suplex?
Wait till we. Oh! But I'll tell you what.
When
we do history of the WCAC come springtime, and we talk about Oakcrest Heights, spring training for backyard tennis. It is happening. It's happening.
You just had to get there. You just had to do it.
I'll tell you what. It was awesome Tuesday night. We missed our buddy T Strack. Get back here soon. We will be back next week to cover more news.
It just dawned on me. Do you think Maryland got tea tonight? Is that what happened?
Wait a second.
They hired him.
Luxley knows exactly what he's doing. He took our best guy. We should have been like Saban and protected this. We should have protected this house.
Kevin,
we're not good enough stalkers. No one's saving it up tonight. I'm blaming Seal.
It was the perfect crime.
You wanted that.
I'll
you
take
wanted
this one. I was closest to him downtown.
I think this might be a conspiracy because then who took his spot?
You sandbagging. This could be an episode of Drunk History as opposed to the history of the WCAC.
Will we revisit this moment?
Yeah,
we will.
I think we will.
Yeah, well, either way, good luck, T.
That's right,
we wish you the best.
We miss you, pal. Sorry.
Great move by Loxley again.
Real deal, Seal.
Gentlemen, it's been great. We're going to have some more action coming up this week in the league. So I'm going to get out and take some photographs and report back next week.
Kevin?
Hey, good luck to all the student athletes out there in the WCAC. Stay healthy so we can keep on talking about you in the best way. Because there's one thing we hate down in this basement. It's having to ever talk about an injury. So let's have a healthy year in this conference. We've already taken 2 with the Paul VI backcourt. Yep. God bless you guys. Yes. Get better. Merry Christmas to everyone. We're going to see you next week, but I like saying it for the next 2 weeks anyways.
Happy holidays to everybody.
Happy holidays to everybody. Absolutely. On behalf of First Amendment Sports, cheers to all those coaches and parents out there who are not only supporting us, but supporting all those awesome teams for the winter time here in the WCAC. So thank you very much for all your efforts.
Thanks for what you do.
Very much appreciated by us, and I'm sure by all the people who are watching. Until next Tuesday, I'm Ken Marangolo, and this was the WCAC Spectacular. It's like the season of toasting. You just got to toast people constantly.
Hold on. Are you positive about this?
I think it's okay. I mean, go ahead. You want to hit the X and then end.
With the old school Timbos on.
The key to this